There are 32 organizations in the National Football League. African American players make up approximately 70% of those teams, yet only 4 are head coaches. The past 2 years, there have been 15 head coaching vacancies. Just 2 have been filled by minorities. It's a troubling trend in the wrong direction, one that people are very quick to point out. So why is this? The answer might be explained by examining an even bigger problem. Of the 32 general managers in each organization, only 1 is African American. And oh, by the way, he hired Brian Flores this past offseason, the only African American to land a head coaching gig. One would think that playing for 10 or 15 years in the league might qualify you for understanding the business of it and how to construct a winning organization. After all, that's one of the primary responsibilities for a GM. Yet it seems minorities are consistently passed up on for less than qualified candidates for either GM or head coaching opportunities. Take Adam Gase, for example. He was fired for performance reasons with the Miami Dolphins after just 3 seasons. He was almost immediately hired by the Jets, where he was temporarily given control over the 53-man roster. That would normally fall under GM duties. But Adam Gase hasn't done anything to warrant him being a hot candidate for a head coaching position. He was an offensive coordinator for Denver one season and Chicago another. Take a look at the Arizona Cardinals, who fired African American head coach Steve Wilks after just 1 year in which he went 3-13. But he wasn't even given a full year to assemble his own coaching staff. Instead, the organization elected to go to the college ranks and hire Cliff Kingsbury. Kingsbury finished with a losing record at Texas Tech over 6 seasons. This one smelled bad. Frankly, Arizona just did Wilks wrong. But every owner seems infatuated with looking for the next Sean McVay, a young, innovative offensive mind that brings a new type of energy to the team. There are plenty of examples. Zach Taylor was hired by the Cincinnati Bengals. He served under McVay as the Rams quarterback coach for just 1 year. No offensive coordinator experience, no coaching experience to speak of. Time and time again, quality minority candidates like Jim Caldwell or the late Steelers wide receiver coach Darryl Drake have been passed up on or not even considered. Sadly, Drake passed away earlier this year unexpectedly, but he'd been considered a highly respected wide receiver coach for 15 years. But as I said earlier, it's not just head coaching positions that lack diversity. Currently, Chris Grier is the only minority among NFL GMs. This is the lowest number, 1, since Ozzie Newsome broke the color barrier 17 years ago. He retired last year. Right now, there's no shortage of bad teams that could use a GM to help rebuild their organization. ESPN front office insider Louis Riddick is widely considered a great candidate for that position. But the phone isn't ringing. As a former director of pro personnel for the Washington Redskins, he understands what it takes to assemble a team. He's considered extremely smart by his colleagues. He understands front office protocol, and he's a former player himself. So why isn't the phone ringing? This type question is being continually asked among the football media world. It's important to note that the NFL put the Rooney Rule into effect in 2002. This rule states that a team must interview at least 1 minority candidate during the head coaching search. Of course, there are many around the league that feel this rule is often abused and not taken as seriously as it should be. The hiring of John Gruden is a perfect example. While working for Monday Night Football at ESPN, it was widely reported that he was going to take the Oakland Raiders job. Well, he couldn't take a job he wasn't offered, right? It was even reported that the Raiders were conducting sham interviews to get around the Rooney Rule just to comply with league rules. Eventually, it was concluded the Raiders did no wrong, but let's be honest, they knew exactly who they wanted from the get-go. African American and retired Hall of Fame head coach Tony Dungy shared his opinion on this diversity topic. He says that the biggest issue is that ownership makes decisions not knowing what they're looking for or how to find it. He says they just go with what's popular or trendy, and if they do that, they won't be second-guessed. The optics are clear. The popular trend, as he puts it, looks a lot like McVay. Young, smart, offensive-minded genius, and white. In fact, a common held joke around the league is that basically anyone who's been seen with McVay at any point in their life, football-related or otherwise, may have a shot at an NFL head coaching gig. That's how frenzied this has gotten. But that's just it. This is too serious of a joke. As for a solution, Dungy asserts that owners take classes on how to hire people and just talk about the basics. Sounds simple enough, right? Only time will tell what the league actually does with this topic, but as for now, it remains a hot one that's going nowhere anytime soon.